Hey, welcome, everyone who, is already here. Welcome, Lonnie, Morgan, and thank you for the raid, Rango. Almost perfectly timed, if not for running a little late today. Oh, right.
Hey, I timed it such that I'd show up at about the start of your stream.
Mm-hmm. Just one thing I, did forget to do, which was, get. Nope, not that. Make it so everyone's actually visible if they decide to pop into the chat.
Oh,
So, let's see.
oh, hi, Abby.
God, it's just everything is. Thank you very much, Epi. I worked very hard on that. Those of you who pay attention to the schedule announcements, you'll notice it's flipped from the background of the schedules because this is the inside of the office. Everything else is on the outside. Uh,
Important, yes.
that's why. Wasn't working. Okay.
Yesterday, I introduced a friend to tabletop role-playing games that are not Dungeons and Dragons.
Oof. How'd they take it?
They took it really well. They went, "Ooh, this is awesome!" And having sent them some Krogan Heads games, they went, "Okay, I'm just going to read this, and I'm also going to read the Lancer book that you sent me."
Well, that's good at least.
Like, the response was, "Wait, what? There's more stuff out there?"
Yeah, hard to believe. Just one company that's dominating. There we go. I just need to move that into proper position.
Look at the fuzzum! I am the fuzzum! I am on the screen!
It looks. It
Really?
may need adjustments.
Hold on, I could send you the avatar I use on stream, which is
Oh, I realized that's not the Fugi one. Uh, the Fugi there.
do you
Fugi is
want me
just
to
super big for some reason.
send it to DM you the image I use as my stream avatar?
Sure. I just refine the window I had that, and
Yep. No, that's not the one. Wait, where what? Okay.
I'll go ahead and just leave that giant map there, which we'll get to in a bit. Why is it a map of Germany? Well, it's important for the setting. Uh, go.
Oh wait, what? What the fuck? What?
What?
Okay, there's technical difficulties.
Oh, fine.
Discord is not responding.
That's very unfortunate.
Okay, it's only while trying to upload the thing.
Hmm. Well, that's very important. Unfortunate because uploading's like the important thing there.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, so it expands that way when I pick. But
there we go.
yeah, one person
There's the image. There's the image.
to actually get there. Without the hat.
Yeah, the
Uh,
hat was a Halloween costume that I never removed.
ah, yeah.
Hello,
Oh yeah,
Morgan 1312. Nice username.
yeah. This is Burango who's popped in just voice chat for a few different streams. Let's see, default
I raided in from my own Dwarf Fortress stream. There were three strange moods,
to only three.
including the one I found at the start of the stream with. But yes, only three. Also, none of my dwarves died. Also, I have 70 dwarves now, and I have expanded the bedrooms to contain much more than 70 beds.
Well, I mean that's good. At least they got plenty of room. And also there we go. We have you hatless.
Yippee!
make a little smaller just so you're not blocking too much of this map. But yeah.
I love how the map is just of Germany.
Yep, there is an important reason for that.
Wasn't there a location called New Greece?
There is. But I figured we'd start with where the first campaign in this setting kind of started with, which was it happened in Germany, a magical town called Freyford.
The second?
Technically, no, because there have been a few smaller ones I've done, which take place in between the two that I've done in a 5e. Just the 5e ones have been the biggest, both in terms of time and full group size.
Hello, Looney
Yeah.
Hole.
Oh yeah, Lonnie. Lonnie's one of my players. It's nice when they pop in.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, Lonnie's a character for this first campaign was a wonderful fighter, which was Penny. I almost said Catron, but that's current. Who became a goddess. But I figured that's a story maybe for later in the stream, perhaps. But yeah, there's a very important.
Has Seppi showed up yet?
I'm not sure. Uh, Not unless they're using someone else's name, because I know all these people.
Okay. CE. I just took it in chat. The Goblin Librarian.
Ah. Oh yeah. Penny is very cool. It's just unfortunate one of the other players made a post campaign decision that meant that he outlived her. Like how rude.
Outlived a fucking god?
Yeah, the process by which she became a god and how they worked in my world, it's an important distinction to make. But like I said, that's probably a story for later in the stream if we get to it. But yeah, for the important reason for why Germany. First big.
So I'm eating some gorb.
No problem. Yeah, obviously, my setting takes place in the more or less modern world, our history shared up to a point. 2016, when this big magical event happened, it was is like a collective daydream of sorts, and it just happened. It passed over the world, going time zone by time zone, and people just all got the same message that distilled came down to more or less a couple important points. Change is coming. We are returning. Prepare yourselves. Kind of neutral message on the side of foreboding.
Yep.
But after that big shared event, this daydream that most people forgot within a couple days, we'll get into what the contents were a bit later, monsters started appearing. These big events called raids, most typically by goblinoid creatures, a few orcs, would just attack larger towns.
Gotta love goblins, weird little creatures.
And people just weren't prepared for it. Except for a few.
My cat is shouting in the other room.
Well, they want to participate. So to
She wants her feeding to be observed.
well, you'll have to tell her to wait. Have to eat her pretend bread for now.
No, what if the other people in the house is doing that? Watching her eat. I fed her just before your stream started.
Ah. She wants more.
She's just she doesn't eat it all in one go, sort of. Usually wants a human to watch.
Because it's a family, damn it. Family eats together.
And also, it's just a thing that cats do. They like it when other entities watch them eat. They're friendly.
Yeah, social creatures.
It's like guarding them against predators.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of predators, like I said, after the event, monsters started coming, just appearing, and people weren't prepared for them, except a few brave heroes popping up every so often with powers beyond the norm. After, I think I said it as a span of like between 2 and 3 weeks, a bunch of people, not everyone, not even majority, but a lot of the population just turned into different races. Some of them were slow going, some were near immediate, and a few unfortunate ones found out years later it's like, oh, I'm not the real me. A slime ate me and absorbed my personality.
Oh shit.
Which has happened once that the players know of.
Neat.
Yeah.
And I assume a lot more often that they don't.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, by the same measure that not everyone turned into non human races, not everyone got access to what we know in the 5e system are player classes. Not everyone even had the ability to just grow in power and get quote unquote levels over time.
Yep.
But yeah, it just turned out it's like, yeah, magic was taken away for a long, long time. The there is no one singular pantheon. Similar to, I believe it's the Scion system. I think it's part of the World of Darkness settings. I have a bunch. I know they got werewolf, changeling, and vampire the Masquerade. But yeah, they just there's a bunch of different pantheons. Not all deities of any particular showed up, but just proof we are here. I know I said it's a Hercules just roams the streets of San Francisco, helping keep partygoers safe. And
You know, hero things.
and the thing with Germany, and for the first setting I ran with 5e, it'd been a couple years. It'd be, I believe it was 2021, like the summer of that this big prophecy was discovered. And by discovered, I mean our intrepid heroes were just kind of abducted in their dreams, didn't realize at first, were shown a vision of the future,
Oh,
which
that was that was the one with the big fancy gods, right? Or was that a different thing?
I think that's a different thing, unless you mean Scion. But yeah, they had this collective dream where they fought in this very fancy map of the Sleeping Beauty castle in Germany, and it
Oh,
turned out to be that Morpheus, the god of sleep, and how I put it, the cousin of death, was showing them a vision of the future, events that had to be done by a prophesied
also
group of
Sisyphus,
heroes.
also the
Yes.
god of sleep.
Yes. Yeah, there's a prophesied heroes having to come save the day at this inevitable fight at said castle. Details of which they were not told because what they were told, you guys aren't the heroes. The actual heroes did not kickstart the process they need to, which needs to be done so the threat's not actually that bad. So you guys are not the B team, you're not the C team, you're not even the Z team. You are the cleanup crew. We just need you to go fix this one little mistake. Uh, so the threat in question does not become this uber powerful demigod esque figure before the party is actually ready for them. Just, a very important thing.
You've got to make sure that the problem doesn't become a problem.
Mm-hmm. I I wish I could remember who made this map. I'll probably look it up by the homebrew review I do next week. Because they've done like actual battle maps for a bunch of historical castles. So it's really nice if someone wants like an actual, not quite professional, but a really fancy looking map for an existing place. Keep resizing. There we go. Yeah, and that is why it took place in Germany. They needed to be within reliable distance to be able to go from Freyford all the way to, I believe it's right around here in Germany for the Sleeping Beauty Castle. and the place I chose because I had been there before in the past. I always had tourist thing with actual maps. Like, cool, I got all this information I can pull if they do any kind of lore checks, which they didn't. But it's nice to be prepared. But yeah, that was the big instigating incident. That's it. It's the instigating incident of the whole campaign. It turned out that two of the party were part of the prophesied heroes group. Uh, it was just meta knowledge not decided at the time of the game. It's just supposed to be a goofy start. It's like, hey, there's this prophecy. It's not you guys, so no pressure, but we do need your help. And half the players turned out to be absolute assholes. They got replaced. It's like, what's the common time highs I can make this group work? And the prophecy was the easiest thing. They already knew some of it, just weren't expecting it to be them at the time. Which is fine, it happens. But yeah, that's not the sort of lore I'm going to focus on for today's stream, though. A lot of chunks I'm thinking just things players might not even find out over time.
Oh, the really annoying NPC party member in Moral Aquaria or in a TTRPG?
Uh, I don't, I don't think it's more of Aquaria. That's been a while. I know there's a kind of annoying NPC right at the end of the last update. It's just cliffhanger.
Oh, Valks?
Yeah, I think that was his name. I need to play that again,
Okay.
just so I don't forget how to play.
I should stream Moral Aquaria at some point.
Yeah, do.
But dang it, I should also get season taxpayers so I can speed
I
run
did.
that.
Hmm.
I kind of promised the devs that I was going to do that.
Well, then you should do that.
Do I need to turn up my audio?
Uh, let's see. Maybe I just have it kind of low on OBS. Let me see.
Yeah,
Oh, for desktop,
audio
yeah,
maxed out.
yeah. I had a desktop audio turned down for a game, so you should be a little better now. Meanwhile, wait, is it because I didn't do this? There we go. I was wondering why it still showed the size thing there when it's supposed to be cut out. But yeah, I figured for this stream I'd do more of the lore that players either don't need or just they missed. Stuff that is still important for how I decided the world and all that. Uh, to start with, there's one bit of lore that's almost never going to give up. Sorry, this never going to come up. I've talked about it with one player, Michael, who always plays the inquisitive characters. He had just some out of character stuff after a session, discussed it. It is how the universe and all the timelines started branching off. My in the beginning for the entire setting. So far back that even the great old ones would not have been around at the time to know it. And as a heads up, it was partially inspired by a kind of mature story that the writer. Let's see, I'll go ahead and type into chat because I'm not sure it'd be easy to spell.
I'm currently mesmerized by an action scene that somebody posted to Tumblr.
No worries. But yeah, Estiel, which is a story, I believe her writer name is Unpretty Kitty or something like that, and it is largely Breath of the Wild inspired. Just the interaction between Ganon, Link, and Princess Zelda, but different names, different setting lore, and it was just intended to be just born with plot, just her own what she wanted to see and that kind of stuff. That just games like, wait, I got an idea for more setting, and oh god, I've made an incredibly in-depth fantasy universe. Which is the
Nice.
only reason I read it because it's like, okay, This person writes all kinds of smut, but she got distracted long enough. She made a fantasy story. It's like, I gotta read this story.
Love it when that happens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, in the beginning of that particular universe, there are three goddesses, which a particular cult refers to as Grandmother Void. And I'm blanking on the other two, but they represent the sun and the moon, pretty much night and day. I went a different route. There's still the quote unquote Grandmother Void in the beginning, but rather than all three having been made at the same time, Grandmother Void was just all alone. Nothing existed, not even time, which to while away the hours, because it just didn't exist yet. And at one point, and even say in time, because it's before that,
Of
uh,
course, of course.
the Void realized they were lonely. They wanted someone there to interact with. And so they made a grandchild. And even in the lore, this is all metaphorical, just make it easier to keep them separate. Not literally grandmother, grandchild, skipping a generation. It's just you know, a writer's prerogative to just kind of edit it. Grandmother Void made a grandson. And then partway through the process went, wait, after talking with someone, I might not want to keep talking to them. I should make two, just so when I'm tired or need my space, they can interact with each other. That one grandson split into two, who,
Nice.
for the sake of the story, are referred to as Light and Dark. Two brothers, alike in just their curiosity and questioning natures and the desire to make things. With it came time and matter and intelligent creatures and all that jazz. But eventually, in the course of creation, they're competing for ever greater things to try and bring to Grandmother Void, get recognition. And, being a good grandmother never took sides. It
Of course.
eventually became a big problem. So a problem that made her go, okay, putting the foot down, punishment time. And she did so by forcing them to, well, consider each other's points of view. Light had an entire realm of light, and Dark one of darkness, and she forced them to live in each other's realms, which made things worse. But Light, just being eternally scared of darkness, just started focusing on things that help create more light to just make things easier to see within their realm they're forced to live in. And darkness doing the same, just creating more and more things to snuff out light to help make the realm a lot easier to live in. It's just hot, blindingly white. And that's what, instead of being just one upmanship over each other, things that actively sought out and destroyed their siblings' creations. Pretty much just evolved into whole universe getting fucked up.
Ooh.
And the turning point, the one that made Granny Void step in again, was the first creation of sentient life. The Grandmother Void tried, right? But yeah. What happened was trying to step in. It's like, okay, you guys are being too rambunctious, forcing them to sit down and create something together, and it became the first sentient life, which, again, with the artistic expression of whatever bard somehow found this knowledge, we'll call the first race of angels. Beings who were created in tandem between the two brothers because they were forced to work together for once to be the perfect servants, to do whatever, assist them with their other creations. But they've never made life before. Like, none of these are deities of creation. Granny Void didn't know what she was making, and thus neither did Light and Dark, and so there were no limitations. They weren't allowed to have children the way as current sentient races are able to. but the desire and the power to do so was there, but also limited by the fact that they're created to help, even though there are only so many projects that can be done. They're agreed to help whatever Light and Dark made. And a day came where just things weren't sitting right with them. They had free will, thought, but were forced to be subjects, servants, and so they formally came together, formed a union. One of them was the union representative to speak to the brothers. And when they said, okay, we have rights, we want to discuss them now, like most children, Light and Dark both threw a tantrum, the likes of which that shattered all of reality. Granny Void had to patch up as best she could, but recognizing that even the angels had overstepped their bounds, they too were split into what would be known as the current equivalent of angels and demons. It was not a case of those who rose against were forced to become demons. All angels being too powerful were split into two souls. One half became the current versions of angels, the other half, the devils of the various hells. Forced into eternal war to fight each other to ensure they can never team up and face the deities who made them that way. At which point, Granny Void fucked off with her two grandchildren. It's like, you screwed the pooch too much, we're just getting the fuck out of here. Yeah, that's a bit of lore that no character will ever find out. But it's very important to me as figuring out, okay, here's the current point, how did we get here? Yeah. I have a variety of other lore things from here, and I have the other campaign thing to jump to. For various handouts, let's start. No, because this particular player popped in, we're going to start with the Celestial Bronze laser pistol they made, named Serenity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, with such powers as I cast Fuck You in particular, which allows them to expend 5 rounds, because it's an energy weapon. It has 50 each, so using up 5 of those, they can just cast spells in action, being either silence or slow against the single target. Serenity Celestial Bronze, one of the important materials in the setting I made up. Celestial Bronze, magic items made of it have a chance of still working within an anti-magic field. It's still slim. It's like a what is it? Cleric ability where you have to roll under your level to call upon your god for a thing. So it's slim, but still potentially useful. And they never used it. They used their fancy 6-shooter revolvers from early in the campaign, where each chamber was a different damage type. But Serenity was still impressive. The Middle Finger Planet? Oh, no, not yet. I haven't really talked about any of the individual characters, what they've done yet. We will talk about Venus eventually, and what happened to it and why. The last ability of the Serenity Pistol, Call to Glory. Heroes, being prophecy heroes and the like, can resist the Call of Death once, after which it loses all magic properties aside from the magical bonus. Again, a quality of Celestial Bronze, because it's really only supposed to be heroes who are supposed to use it. But, everything else aside, very good thing to be attuned for the final battle against Lycaon, a devourer of souls and whatnot. Very special firearm, very important. I only wish she got to use it. It's a very designed to be an anti-caster weapon, hence the silence or slow ability. If only I had time to make more Celestial Bronze gear.
Yang.
Think. No, Celestial Bronze is just pretty much the default of what the abilities get. So let's go to one of the other big important magic items of the campaign, the Hatchet of Hyceline, which will actually start with how the players got it, because this is the mission that Morpheus
Oh,
had
that.
summoned the four to go get. But yeah, the first mission, well, the only mission that Morpheus sent the group on, it's the first time they had met each other at all. Which, let's see, was Artificer, the one with the pet battlesmith, that was it. Lonnie at the time was
The middle finger planet.
yeah, like I said, we'll get to it. I think it's important to talk about that story after the minor introduction of characters. So it was a little into the campaign before it happened.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to follow this gimmick blog.
But yeah, Petra Heislane, Beck the Battlesmith Artificer, Penny the champion fighter, but she later turned into. She was the Shadow one. Echo Fighter, that was it. Fighter, and the other two, which were asshole, haha, funny characters, one of which you literally every aspect of their backstory. Uh, yeah, all of them pretty much just minor references to Hitler's life. Four siblings named after four of his generals and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, they were the nice to start, but those two assholes who knew each other IRL before joining were swiftly booted, along with our
Good.
two heroines. Told to go to this just cave, which they'd only be able to see due to one of the local gods of death being able to help guide the way. It's a cave of soul crystals. Pretty much
Wait,
whatever.
I didn't properly process that. You're saying that two
Yep.
two of the players. What?
Two of the players made characters that were on the fence of they might be legitimate racists and just teenagers who think doing stuff like that is funny.
Ah, edgy teens.
Yeah. So I gave
The
benefit of the doubt to
politically
start.
edgy kind, which is the annoying kind.
Yeah. I gave benefit of the doubt. They had to go to this crystal cavern where soul crystals are, and they found a mercenary group who closely affiliated with literal neo Nazis. And then for some reason, after that first encounter, both of them wanted to change their character. So, weird. Oh, it is just. I met them through Roll20, just made posting. They they were all brought together by Morpheus, and two of them were swiftly booted not long after, with legitimate reasons. Let's see. No, they didn't burn anything down. Not for lack of trying. Uh,
Were there different characters who did that?
no, I think one of them just like used a lot of fire spells.
One of the
Uh,
neo Nazis, or
yeah, and the other was a necromancer who was trying to pretty much build up an army, and pretty much took over the role of a fighter, which is why Penny eventually became an Echo Knight because like, hey, they're kind of taking your role as a fighter. Would you like to change your subclass, your class? And they're like, I want to use the UA, and I'm like, done. UA is also cooler than champion, so why not?
and then those people got booted for good reason.
Yes. But while they were unfortunately still with the group, they had to go to this crystal cave where pretty much throughout the world there are these caves just filled with soul crystals. And what it does is whenever someone dies in that particular region, soul goes to the nearest cave if they are not revived in time. They are pretty much just held there until whichever local death god that oversees the area comes, collects them, takes care of it.
Hmm. Okay, I feel like I'm going to. I feel like
Oh,
I've got a
sorry.
headache coming get on, and it's almost time for dinner, so I will scuttle off now. See ya.
No problem. See you, Barango. And I'm sorry, you are right. It was Rune Knight. I just Echo Knight. There are too many fighter subclasses with knight in the title. But yeah, also if you want to just like hop in the boardroom chat on the Discord channel, you can speak instead of having to type everything out if it's easier for you. But yeah, they had to go to this cave. They had to retrieve the Hatchet of Hyceline, which at the time these neo-Nazi mercenary guys were also trying to get it. The Hatchet of Hyceline is a silver-edged hatchet that is the only thing that can kill the goddess Hyceline. Very local deity, very local goddess. She has pretty much a small deity lane to her name, and her only followers are pretty much lived in there since before magic went away. Yeah, it's not too special. If they decided to keep it on their party, wouldn't have been too powerful for. I believe they were level 5 to start the campaign. But yeah, they had a hole drilled through the side of the axe head, through which a giant chain had been keeping it secured to this huge wolf skull. Like, absolutely massive. It's helping keep thing secure to the ground inside this old cave of soul crystals. It's sealing what became the BBG of the campaign, Lycaon. As you can see, when attuned, you can just cast Cure Wounds by striking someone with the blade instead of damaging them, or using 3 charges to cast Animal Friendship with no save. But it is wolf exclusive because Hyson was also a wolf goddess. For it's a pretty big story about why those two are involved. Hey, you're in.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, welcome. Let me just do a quick little edit in this other window so we can get your well, one of your character tokens on there. But if you'd like to introduce yourself and who you were in this campaign.
Uh, sure. Hi. My real name is something I'll keep to myself because this is the internet. No offense. And uh, my Twitch handle, I guess, is no clue what I do because I feel like that's just the theme of my life. I was with Nick in both of his. Sorry, Lucy. That blah. Okay. Well, I already fucked it up.
It's a very common name. Ol Nik, been around for a long time.
I was with Lucy for both of his campaigns, not since the start for the first one, but I think pretty much the majority of the first after those two assholes got kicked out.
Yep, I can't
I
remember the
played
exact
Derek
day,
Dion.
but it was like 2 months into the year. This is only 2 months in the campaign. I started the first Friday of the year.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. I played Derek D'Angelo, the Asimar wizard, in his first campaign, and um, yeah, sorry, brain. It is 8 in the morning for me. I also played Hunter, the Dragonborn Druid, in their second campaign. And currently things are going personally very great for Hunter, but campaign wise, pretty bad.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out for him, though. I believe in him.
Mm. I mean, he got an archfey to stage him an intervention. That says something.
Oh, that says a lot of somethings about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I've got a little Hunter token on OBS, so you look more interesting than your Discord image.
Yeah. There he is. All blue and big and oh, that asshole.
But yeah, that asshole was unfortunately not involved with the battle with Lycaon. Or maybe. We'll see, because that is technically a prequel campaign. Uh, but yeah,
Technically, the streams have not crossed yet. They could.
yeah, very close. I mean, you guys could escape into Texas and you'll get to meet them there. We'll see.
Hmm.
But yeah, Hatched of Hyceline, something that you weren't there for in the first campaign, but was a very big deal. This is the only thing that can kill Hyceline the goddess, or Lycaon, the former wild god. Like he was not a humanoid, he was a wolf. Actually, I can open up his thing. Oh, it doesn't do the full size thing. Can I? Actually, wait, does this let me just drag it out? Yes, it does. I can show him in all his glory. One. Bam. Though I think it needs to get there. There's the right perspective.
Ah,
Lycaon.
yes.
Big image that was the final battle in his own demiplane, where people could not die for permanent. It's pretty much in his demiplane of just endless hunger. He has been kind of borderline cursed with various things, including the Norse god Loki, but we'll get to that. Pretty much unending hunger. You could not die there, but every time you were killed, however much damage over what you had left is taken away from your max HP. Keeps going and going until you are consumed soul and all. It's just very frustrating for Lycaon because, well, there's no life left. Nothing but his pack.
Yeah, he seemed like a hungry boy. Luckily, none of us died.
Oh, and I tried. Oh my god, how I tried. Yeah, the story of Lycaon, in terms of the setting as a whole, he was the last of the wild gods, pretty much not humanoid, just naturally occurring, representing predators, especially pack predators like wolves. And pretty much the rest either were hunted down by the humanoid gods coming in as humanity itself rose, uh, more technologically advanced, coming together in cities and farming. But he's the last thing that struck terror and on the lives of man. So it came down to a final battle, and he kept fighting the gods away. Not killing them, but enough that they're like, okay, we can't do this legitimately on the field of battle. So Loki came in, and he got him sealed away. It's a story that might be familiar to many people, especially with their ties to Germany. Came across a cabin in the woods, a young girl delivering goodies to the family member who lived there, and he ate her whole. Feeling full for the first time in a long time, settled down for a nap. A local woodsman, who was actually Loki, one of his more mortal, not disguises, personas. It's how he comes down every so often. The Silver Edge axe cut the young Hyceline out, where she had absorbed a good chunk of the godly power, enough that Lycaon could be sealed. With one final blow, axe right in the skull of Lycaon, the entire corpse dragged away to a local cave of soul crystals. He was so sealed until millennia later when the plot said he's on the verge of coming out.
Because prophecy bullshit has to come to pass.
Oh, not quite. The prophecy bullshit was the machinations of Loki. He cannot be defeated on the field of battle. So he's defeated by cause of over a millennia, bound, sealed, forced to regain that power, so that he may be killed by prophesied heroes when the time was right. Loki is not a trickster god originally, at least in my setting. He's a he is a giant who is allowed to join the pantheon, getting the godly powers of worship as well. Became a god of stories. Stories need a certain pattern to come to a satisfying end. And thus, how he managed to get
I was.
Lycaon there.
Would you say Loki was a manipulator? That word has a lot of connotations. He was definitely a big planner.
He was. I would say manipulative is not quite there, just because, like you said, the connotations. But most of how he did things was by pulling strings, greasing the right palms, that sort of thing. Like he had plans and he had backup plans, but inevitably, well, he's more. He likes being more creative with how he takes people down, hence the prophecy for Lycaon. And his adopted sister having been the unfortunate last meal of Lycaon, well, was unfortunate, but he managed to finagle the story enough that she got some deific powers for a time. So a loss at the end of the
The
campaign, but
moral,
hmm,
yeah. The moral of the story, kids, if you're listening, if you get eaten by a giant wolf god, sometimes you gain superpowers. And sometimes you get digested. It's 50-50.
superpowers, mild cult following of sorts. Let's see, ties to the Orders of the Morningstar, but that's more just, getting supplies to that demi-plane. But yeah, with how the campaign ended, all that godly power had to go somewhere, and Lycaon could not be defeated without that axe, which got destroyed. So other things had to come around and force that to happen. The plan of him trying to open that portal from his cursed lands meant that the heroes had to go in there and beat him badly enough that he died by the rules of its own plane. See, he had
We beat Yeah, we beat a dog into submission. That's
and he had some really nice abilities. Let's close that ending thing. Let's see, the presence of death. Just by being within range, having to make a wisdom save to not be frightened for a full minute. And like the typical thing,
yes.
just if you succeed, immune for 24 hours. But pretty much his final form, the mythic action, which I think was introduced with the Theros book, reducing him to 0 HP, he gets a second stage. And he can now use Presence of Death again and again, even if you were made immune to it. It overwrites it.
He was a Dark Souls boss.
Hmm?
Yeah. I I will just say, just for my own ego, I was really proud of the fact that out of everyone, Derek was the did not get scared, not once.
Yeah, that's what happens with the cleric domain wizard subclass. Being an Asmar, it just thematically didn't make sense.
Yeah. I stared death in the eyes and said down.
And for anyone actually reading the description, you'll notice there are some names: Hans, twins, uh, possessed Mercurix, which there were two possibilities for which of the clan Mercuric would be possessed for this thing. It ended up being the little sister who was a sniper. Range one, and he goes second form. His HP cannot be reduced any further. He can't die. He can't gain life. But pretty much four avatars of death, reflavored a bit for each of the named people up here, all have to be defeated before they could kill Lycaon for real. With the downside that
Wait,
Hmm?
they had vulnerability to radiant damage?
Yep, they were undead, technically.
Oh. Oh, so that's why they went. Okay, I was thinking, okay, they went away. Well, that's what happens when you make a radiant version of Fireball, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, this is pretty much the stat block I used for him. Nothing special, just changing the immunities and the weaknesses and all that. But they had to defeat the four shades of Lycaon to get his actual form. The downside, though, the side mechanic for how he was trying to escape was twofold. One, there
Yeah.
was this small portal that all his little wolf minions would try to run to, and every time one succeeded, the portal got a bit bigger, and a bit bigger. Because this guy was not huge, it's the size above huge.
Gargantuan?
Oh wait, no, it was huge. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. He was huge size and he couldn't fit into the original portal. So the wolf minions just trying to run at it. They had to kill them before portal got to huge size. Then they got to second form. Every time one of the shades died, he got smaller. And
yeah.
so by killing all four of them, he was almost the perfect size, just a little smaller than he had to be to just go through. But they still killed him very quickly. I believe in game it was still like within the 60 seconds that most battles end. Like, goddamn, I tried. I tried to make it last longer. You with your radiant
You
fireball.
really did try. I look, I will fully admit that I played Derek as a paranoid over prepper,
Very curious
but
too.
I feel like yeah, a very uh the definition of curiosity killed the cat. Like the dictionary definition of that phrase, but I feel like it paid off in the end
It paid
with
off
all that over prepping
magnificently.
because yeah,
It was beautiful. Frustrating as a DM, but also proud, you know? It's like I wanted this to be a challenge. I wanted them to at least, have to worry about the thing where if you die there and you lose a bit of your total health, you have to be removed cursed or something, or you can't ever permanently leave. You'll
yeah.
just get
See,
sucked back. But you guys were too good.
that's why kids, you make use of glyph of warding. Glyph of warding gives you extra spells that are just on you.
And was the magic duplicate like on their name? You had one.
All right, I made a complete simulacrum of myself, so there
Simulacrum,
was
that's
just
it.
another level 17 wizard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
and
very
heck,
much over.
wait, no, that wasn't his name. Shit. I'm like
Andrea.
Andrea. That was it. That's the name first campaign. Simulacrum and Andrea got sucked in ahead of schedule due to the rainbow like wall spell, prismatic wall, where each layer is a different effect.
Yep, yep.
It had a banishment thing, but instead of banishment, it just sucked into the demi plane a little sooner. Derek had to hurry up and get
Yes.
rid of all the other layers so you guys could get in. Uh, but like I said, I wish I could have given you guys more of a challenge, but he surrounded it pretty well. This guy had triple multi attack. Let's see, what was legendary actions again? Much extra strat. Uh, pretty much a very souped up,
Yeah.
like vicious mockery type thing. But instead of reduced
I
saves, you
think
just
this
take
is.
full damage.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I. This is what happens when I play wizards. I just
Go all
like
in.
when I'm in. I go all in. I think in mechanics. That's what happens when I'm playing a wizard. I just think of how can I possibly turn this into my advantage. That's why in your second campaign I chose the slightly less complicated option of playing a druid. Not like it's not like
Less
druids have
complicated.
an endless.
How's that turned out for you?
I don't know how, but I ended up being the utility monkey again. I'm not mad about it, but goddamn, I feel like I'm the one out of combat making the plot go forward.
Busky's character's helping there too. He just hasn't had a chance to
No,
shine because
yeah,
he's currently swapped out of luck.
uh, lock is a plot device. There's a slight difference.
Almost literal with how he's been treated by the enemy. Not quite BBG, but he's definitely a mini boss.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure we're gonna kill that guy. Like I know Hunter is going through not quite therapy, but he's very much trying to keep his emotions in check. But there are some people in the world that just deserve to get their throat slits. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are other people who deserve to get pretty much killed from a spell via their dick. Like you just did the brothel with some really fucked up magic spell. The guy deserved it for
Yes.
sure, but also the trauma. Just knowing that you're gonna die and it's through damage directly to your pelvis.
Mm-hmm. Look, what when an asexual enters a brothel for the first time, he decides to kill someone via dick.
It's pretty fucked up. A brothel is a place for things getting fucked in various directions.
Mm.
But lastly, before we jump to some of the second campaign stuff, the prophecy of Lycaon's rise. And this is not the
It's been a
whole
while.
thing; it's just the prophecy itself. The thumbless maiden faces the great shifter. Father of her and every wolf shirt, the veil between will be ripped asunder by their wild energies. The gatekeeper and doorman will hold the line. The locksmith shall bar the door. The traitor's choice will bespoil the queen. All of which these bolded words kind of just corresponded to one of the players. Andrea the battlesmith being the locksmith, because artificer. Let's see, the gatekeeper being Penny the fighter, and eventual goddess. The doorman and the traitor. Doorman being Derek, kind of just as down here, butler of death's door or a psychopomp. This is supposed to be prophecy passed through like 3 different languages before it came to common. Things are going to be one for one after that much.
Yeah.
Of course, the my favorite term, the wolf shirts, which is very translated Nordic term, similar to berserkers, but berserkers being literally bear shirts, wolf shirts, just a more lean, more quick version of them. Very fun figuring this out. There was a lot of like, how do I connect point A to point B for these characters I have, and a prophecy I have to make up. But it was
Yep.
fun.
And the traitor, I feel like the campaign would have gone very differently if that Thanksgiving dinner just
Hadn't forced them to die.
well, not even forced. We just let it happen because I mm, look, I
They made some convincing
ja-
convincing arguments. Jasper, your family is literally in this building. We will bring down all the forces of magic that we can to kill them, or you let us kill one of you. Of course, being his family, he's like, all right, I volunteer, and no one spoke up.
it didn't feel like our choice because it was his family, his choice, but it was very much in my head. Uh, this is a dumb decision. Even if you volunteer yourself, we could still all gang up and fight or get them out or something.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The funniest thing was he wasn't even here that session. Well, like he couldn't appear in chat, so it's just me sending messages every so often. It's like, okay, you volunteered. Here's the response, but no one volunteering for it in your place.
Yeah.
So he's like, cool, I'll go through with it.
Oh, that's because that's
Uh,
another thing. He
I think
wasn't
it's
here for it,
I
so
think it was
we
a
couldn't
track
like.
thing going on that week or something.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have felt right to take away his decision when he wasn't even here to play.
But yeah, he got to come back as a golden slime, feeling very special about himself,
Ugh,
and
Echo,
nearly prompted
fucking
another
Echo.
fight immediately after Lycaon, as Echo wanted the goddess energy that Penny sucked up and became full goddess herself.
Just
So many things
Echo was a
happened.
fucking asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek's hair fully turned white from all the stress and has nothing to do with his divine revelation. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, we almost forgot. The very important thing that happened after that, to fully kill Lycaon after the proper defeating thing, energy sucked away, you had to use a wish. Well, Derek had to use a wish. But he unfortunately made a deal with Levistus, the big archdevil in the Nine Hells who's frozen a giant block of ice. Because he made a deal with you and he got to choose your next wish. The wording was something about having to free him. It's like, I wish Levistus was free of his icy dungeon. And you twisted by adding extra words and swapped Lycaon. Then you all got the fuck out of that demi-plane and hoped he'd stay there. Which he didn't.
Yeah,
Everything went
no,
perfectly to
but
plan,
you
but you
know,
guys did your best.
that's Lavistus is a villain that we can't defeat him. Not as mortals. No, one day his comeuppance is gonna come, but not from us.
Maybe campaign 3. We'll see.
Maybe campaign 3. It is space. I feel like the scaling of power goes up in space,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe that's just me.
And it should. I said, yeah, I did tell you guys, I'm trying to get a mechanic where you guys have a quote unquote second health bar, which is pretty much the main health bar is your giant mech helping you in the fight, failing, and you gotta get out of there instead of death saves. Which is a lot more
Yeah, I
fun
still
because you can
haven't.
still act.
I still don't know how the space cloud is going to fit with the symbiotic space mech.
That's tomorrow's problem. By tomorrow, I mean like next year, maybe? Depends on how much you guys speed through this campaign.
I mean, we got. I'm gonna be honest. Campaign 1 felt very much focus on the prophecy. Everything we're doing is to prep for this big final battle. Campaign 2 is like all of us got very
Side quests.
personal individual problems.
Yeah.
It's like the whole big bad of like the evil wizards are coming back. It's like, okay, whatever. The warlock hasn't talked to her girlfriend in weeks. The
Yeah.
artificer has a identity issue in the most literal sense. The cleric had her friend be human trafficked, and I enough said.
So many things your character's been through. A lot of it's not even been in campaign. It's still there.
No,
Uh,
no. I am a therapist's worst nightmare.
but yeah, speaking of campaign 2, you know what? Let's start with Nanny Ogg's Cookbook, Volume 2. The wonderful magic book you guys stumbled upon.
We can't, none of us can even use it, and the one person who can doesn't need to use
I mean, you can't use it for the intended purpose of learning, what is it, Thieves Can't? No, Thieves Tools, because you need Thieves Can't to read it. The outside looking like a very raunchy cookbook. It is actually in Thieves Can't code, detailing businesses and private homes of New Greece for the purposes of thievery. While no one can learn Thieves Tools, it's a potential use of it's like, okay, where's the best place to hit if the occupying army has not stripped it of its valuables yet? Which is a real concern. Because there is
it.
a occupying
True.
mercenary group. I believe they are still called the White Wolves, and it is the same neo-Nazi group from Campaign 1 occupying this
Yep,
steampunk town in the Feywild.
we got there early, and I don't know if we're ending a rebellion, helping start a rebellion. I don't know. It's we got involved in something that was completely not our business.
Who knows how it'll affect the timeline? That's why I did the whole split timeline thing back in the way beyond the start, beyond everything.
This might be the same timeline. This might be it's a slightly different one. Who knows? Because choices matter.
See, and you weren't here for when I did the when I talked about the Granny Void story, because I know we've talked about it out of character.
Oh yeah,
Their,
we did talk about it out of character. Yeah, Granny Void.
their grandsons and how that sparked the whole Rebellion of Angels and how Luci and Derek got split. Because they're the opposite sides of the
Those
same
dicks.
soul.
Yeah. I've never met these individuals, concepts, gods, whatever you want to call them, and I want to kick their fucking asses. This entire thing started because of what? A family brawl? A spat between brothers, really?
I mean,
Just
it's typical family
the
this.
yeah, but just the most petty bullshit, and the cosmology of the world changes forever.
Yeah. Oh well, who cares about that? Campaign 2, it's all
Derek,
it's
very
all
much. Derek very much cared.
but Derek's not almost god yet. At least not in the campaign 2 part of the timeline. Uh
No, but Derek is erased from every other timeline.
yeah. I mean this one's got a couple years, if it turns out the timelines don't match. That's something.
I'm still salty. I'm still salty about that. I'm still salty.
But, sorry, but when your soul is cursed to eternity in the cycle of reincarnation to prevent you from, rebelling against the gods, some gods who weren't there at the beginning to know your side of the story, thus will not trust you now, will take that personally. He's ascending godhood, get him! And then just smote across the timelines.
It feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, why would I even want to overthrow the gods? Oh, they completely fucked over my life for something I didn't even plan on doing. Well, now I might as well.
Yeah, if you're gonna be punished for something, might as well do the thing you're being punished for.
But that's Derek's story. Derek's story is over. He doesn't ever achieve his catharsis. Although I do think he makes it extremely annoyingly difficult for everyone else after he's gone.
And if nothing else, he deserves that. Making someone else's life hell for once. But yeah,
But
back in
that's campaign one, yeah. Campaign two.
the prequel, what we have right here is the very fancy cabin with some whatever this type of stone would be called for the floor and the base, like first floor walls, was pretty much built in the wonderful town of Cape Bronco. Because, well, like I said, this whole setting is based on real world up to 20 to 16, some minor changes for plot. While I am using the Rise of the Rune Lord setting, sorry, the campaign book, it is still the same setting of the real world. So I used Cape Bronco instead of Sand Point. I'm pretty sure it's Sand Point.
Yeah, we're in Brazil. We speak.
Spanish or
I almost said
Portuguese.
Spanish. No, we speak Portuguese. Yes.
I mean, I said both are interchangeable for the common language, Sandin, just to make things easier. I mean, they're both pretty common in South America.
Yeah, I believe this place was built from the ground up by the gentry. Was that right?
Yes, by the members who could come out and use their woodworking tools. But of course, it does hide a very important secret, and it's just under this rug here. Voila. No, I'm not downloading an update now. Just go ahead and zoom in. There's a small little basement floor, and what is there is an altar to an important cult figure of the campaign, so I'm not going to say their name, those who might get spoiled. But it was
Right, right.
an altar that got destroyed by Hunter because he had woodworker's tools. Only
Yeah,
way to
it
destroy it
was a
was using the relative tool. Every other
yeah.
method would fail.
The one tool proficiency that I chose because hey, this is kind of interesting and kind of fits his character. The only thing that could to get rid of this.
Yep. Which is just the easiest way for it to be magically shielded from, spells and things that would have purified the area. It was some nasty stuff. especially because that altar made the region kind of unstable for any spells, which is this handy mechanics for unstable magic zones with the Obama meme of "then perish." Because I thought it was funny. Taking
Yeah.
inspiration from Discworld.
Yeah. Thankfully, it hasn't gone too bad yet. I think we only broke one hole through the veil.
Correct. There was a second break, but it was intentionally caused by an enemy. But yeah, I figure it's a fun way to get a little extra enjoyment out of counterspelling counterspells. Because typically it's just roll a d100 when you cast a spell, which I do on the DM side of things to not come up the action economy. Roll the spell's level lower, and one of these happens. Or you counterspell a counterspell, and this happens. Every additional counterspell in the counterspelling line just is an additional roll. Different regions, just depending on how unstable the area is, have lower health. It could just be the Veil's HP goes down by 1. There's some sounds of little imp like creatures on the other side. Or you immediately open it, and I have to get some new devilish NPCs in there to fuck shit up more.
They
It was
haven't
fun.
been so bad. Yeah.
No, like,
They've mostly just been imps. But I mean, I would not put it past you to put in some bone devils or something if we can handle it.
yeah. So I have the options right here, just DM thing. It's not a huge thing if you guys can see it or not. It's just more so it's separate when I'm looking at the sheet. Yeah, what can happen anywhere? There are imps, quasit
Doppelgangers,
sprites, pseudo dragons, goblins, like just generic things that could happen anywhere. Underground having things like skeletons, the shadows that sap strength away, the various situational things like doppelgangers, monodrones, which are constructs from the. What is that plane? It's supposed to be like.
Mechanus,
Yeah, it's lawful
Mechanus.
neutral, I think.
Yeah, complete law, order.
And I've got like
The
sturges and
clockwork
twig
world.
blights. Yeah. And then there are the sturges and twig blights for wooded areas and various animated things for magical labs and dungeons. Pretty much any other very specific ones I have the relevant handout for the location. Yeah, it's a very fun effect. Another case of I wish it popped up more, but because it's all RNG with the hundreds I roll off screen, it doesn't come up too much. Most of the rolls have been coming up like 30 plus. Don't have level 20 spells. Not yet, anyway.
We're almost there. We're level 10, just 7 more levels to go.
Exactly. Eventually we'll get there.
Eventually, it's actually been insane how quickly we've progressed. It's been less than a year since Magic came back, and already we could.
But yeah, it's
I
been
mean, I
like
can harness the
6
force of
months or so.
nature. Yeah, we went from nobodies to adventurers really quickly. It's probably not healthy how used to just general killing that we've got to be.
Yeah, it did change when I figured out the conversion. Because Rise of the Rune Lords is a Pathfinder campaign. We are doing 5e. Just the
Mm.
experience for the conversion didn't line up. So while it used to be an XP campaign, it turned into a milestone. Just so you guys weren't too weak. Unfortunate. But you guys have done some things that I weren't entirely sure you guys were going to actually do. Like, the Revenant you guys saved.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's one lady whose life was completely ruined by this serial killer asshole that we accidentally helped because instead of killing her, we decided to just tag along on her revenge quest.
And Revenants are one of those things I changed from the mechanics and how they work in 5e at least. Uh, Revenants, just as they are in 5e, will just continually come back for the year after their death until they exact revenge on whoever killed them or whatever situation caused them to become revenants. I made it where if they are not killed before they succeed their goal, they get to come back to life. No more undead, no more whatever cravings revenants would need. Just fully back alive, the same as a true resurrection. Because these guys saw this, like, oh no, this is the person we know we killed but never saw her body. They were kind, they let her do her business. She almost died trying to chase him down, but you guys finished him off, and she got to come back.
Yeah, so overall, net positive.
Net positive, especially because I changed some of her backstory information, like before you even met her. So she's tied to the Madame Vashti, the fortune teller you guys have met. So one of her daughters.
Oh,
Moved away to the big city, met a man, fell out of touch with her mother, much to the disappointment of the family.
oh well then. We already had sort of a working relationship with her, but I think,
Now
yeah,
it's
no, now
personal.
she's now it's personal.
In a good way. In a very good way. Let's see, what other fun lore stuff is coming up in this second campaign?
Mm,
Well, I guess there's how I do the Feywild time distortion, because it's maybe not fun, but to me, I like doing math stuff like this.
yeah, I think I'm both grateful and slightly disappointed that the 2 times we went to the Feywild, the conversion was 1-to-1.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
like,
mean, at
oh,
least this
that
campaign,
means,
this campaign, there's a chance you
yeah,
have to go back through though, which could be a
true,
huge
but
deal.
it could be, but also, ah,
Also, wait, you guys also negotiated with an archfey, so you had better chances. 'Cause let's see, you guys were successfully in there a week. So while the worst case should have been months, with their powers, they made the worst case weeks. It's very important when you unintentionally set up some revolutionary unrest back in Rio. You do other asshole
yeah.
mercenary
So
group. Saw a lot of
we,
those in my group
yeah, there are
campaign.
two different rebellions that we're halfway involved in for both, and neither are successful yet.
One is certainly a lot
Although we,
closer, though.
yeah, we are gonna. Mm, I don't know. Hunter's not the big planning character, but he is down to murder anyone that decides to abuse anything for any reason.
Yeah,
He's done it before.
yeah, but those were circumstances.
Uh,
He was a good big brother. He just wasn't a good thinker after the fact. So it's like, oh, maybe I could have gotten away with it. Meddling kids or no.
Look, this is what happens when you teach kids that actions have consequences, even when sometimes they don't.
What a way to phrase that. But yeah, the way I do the time distortion is a bit of a parabola. Some days are more likely for things to get fucked up, while others, well, you don't have to worry about being gone for years and years. Most of them, in fact.
It's a bit
It's only, let's see, 2, 4, 5. Yeah,
1 or 2 days, 3.
yeah. If you're there for 4 or more days, you're fine. Up until you get up to day 23, that's when you're in danger zone of being gone for years again.
It's a bell curve. So if you
Yeah,
gone 23, 24 is the danger zone, because then you'd be gone 2 decades, more than 2 decades.
yeah. Loops back around. It's pretty much endless loop. I just did a 48. Sorry, it's a 24 thing because of how I made the moons work for my Feywild. It's pretty much like gravity's effect. Sorry, the the tides of the ocean are affected by the moon on Earth. The tides of the Feywild distortion affected by the moons in the Archfey. It's very mathy, but I had fun figuring this out. It's like, should there be days with just
like a little bell curve?
Not perfectly in the center. No, it's close. Usually it's more typical for days or to 3 days. Math.
Math. That's most of this game. It's mostly math.
A whole lot of math in the dice rolling game. Who'd have thought? Faction. Oh, I forgot to do factions in the first campaign. Actually, we need to get back to here. Here, I had some really fun lore stuff that, again, you guys didn't find out in game for the most part. Let's start with the Thief Guild, Cursed Black Cats, which is text heavy, but I'm not reading all of it. Effectively,
we really
it is a thief guild, like unofficial guild, but they come together locations all across the world, and it's more just demi-humans and non-human races that are being unfairly discriminated against, coming together, helping each other find work, and sometimes in the more dangerous areas for demi-humans to be living, especially the kobolds, goblins, lizardmen, who can be mistaken for the monstrous versions. Well, Andre is an outlier and should not have counted. She passed for human. But yeah, for areas more dangerous for them, they would also resort to raiding caravans and overland shipments to get food and money, because it's the only way to do it. People being racist against the catmen and such.
Yeah, and we kind of screwed them over. Oops.
Yeah, they do have some ties to the Adventurers Guild. Some of their cursed black cats being official members in the Adventurers Guild throughout the world. They claim jobs that some of their people can do, but under the guise of them doing it themselves, coming back to turn it in. Which is also an issue in terms of tax money and such. Oh, this many taxes. Like, no, I didn't. That wasn't my money. Someone must have stolen my name. Don't know what to tell you. But yeah. So I'll go ahead and hide it here. There's much less. Sorry, there is some access to some less than legal work. Theft, robbery, blackmailing, general henchmaning. And while there are some assassination requests that kind of circulate around to any members who might be interested of plausible deniability, most members do not take those tasks at all. It's below them. It doesn't fit their personal morals, let's say. But yeah, they're by the media is called just the Cursed Black Cats, because they're monstrous creatures. They're not looked at very well. But personally, they go by the fucking cursed ones, which is just reference like, why couldn't I be a human, or even just a Twinkie elf man? I don't care. Not this fucking troll of a beast. Unfortunate.
This is what happens when people who aren't furries become the monstrous races.
But yeah, I especially liked the boss Cursed Black Cats. There was an optional boss battle I had her versus would have been Andrea for trying to get free and clear of the group's influence. Andrea being the only human.
Didn't she possess Andreas briefly with that whole kerfuffle in her garage lab?
Yes, she was working on a variation of I believe it's the Soul Cage. Yeah, I can go
Magic Jar.
Yeah, the Magic Jar, that was it. Variation of the Magic Jar spell to permanently take over someone's body, but keep access to your own spells. And she almost got away with it too. She had all kinds of traps set up in Andrea's lab, but never came down to that final fight, which I was hoping for. Especially because I really like the ballistic short swords I gave her, which pretty much had a range option instead of being normal short swords.
It, Jesus. Well, how did we find out that she was? Oh, right, because as Andrea, she apologized, which Derek immediately thought that's suspicious. Andrea is completely shameless of her actions.
She's not shameless, she just has no reason to apologize. She knows what she did. If you
Yeah, so it's
deserve an
like,
apology, she wouldn't need it. So she was only back because of Derek and Jasper. Yeah. Yeah, she had
yeah,
some.
like that's the only reason because Andrea apologized, which she never does. It's like, what is going on with you?
Uh, she does not apologize for being awesome. Exactly. But I had fun with Andrea's backstory. It was very nice. It's like, yeah, she's not a criminal, but she did learn her artificer dealy from these people outside the law. A dark gnome, and I think he's a normal dwarf. They were husbands. Just raised her up because her very magic, especially cleric magic inclined family, couldn't keep her around. Sorry, you can't be in the know because you literally can't make use of it. Uh,
Sometimes family members just don't vibe.
I mean, she wasn't a major criminal. She didn't partake in assassinations, major theft, maybe some petty theft.
No. I mean, well, what do you call gaining future information from Santa Claus to completely rig a market crash?
Technically, no. It was not insider trading.
Mm.
Insider trading would have been a targeted against certain companies. You guys only knew it was going to crash, and you just worked around that. That's like knowing when Google's going to come out with a new product and you try and buy stocks to sell on that day when the price jumps, you know? It still wasn't
Yeah, true
great,
enough.
but it wasn't full on crime.
Crime adjacent.
Yeah. I did have fun with the lore spell for that group too. It didn't get used, but it's pretty much just a way to bypass poison resistances by turning the what is 75 gold worth of poison per spell level into a spell effect, which I think is
Oh,
an interesting way
right.
to get around it.
Wait, didn't Derek make this because Andrea asked for a favor?
Yes, because you guys had to complete this for. I can't remember what the favor was, but it's pretty much make a working magic item that used this spell, a reusable one at that.
Right, right, right.
It's like I'm an
I
artificer. I don't have those spell levels, but my wizard friend, it's like fine, but he's being sworn in low key as part of the group.
I think at this point it's just whenever Derek needs a favor from Andrea, it's like I'm gonna give you 3 favors, or like I'm gonna give you X many favors, no questions asked. Which I don't think he understands how powerful of a wizard level 20 wizard's favor is, but he just gives them out because I you don't need money, so I don't know what else to give you.
Just lucky Andrea isn't more selfish about that. It's not
She
what she
very
does.
much
You.
could have been.
Yeah, I did like the option for the spell effect. You go all the way to ninth level for some reason, just inflicting 4 levels of exhaustion on someone. Because 3 levels is already deadly enough. But going the full on to just potentially inflict another 2 on top of it with another spell. I know there's a necromantic one that can also do a level of exhaustion. Just stacking. It's like you're borderline dead, dude. This is the spell that did it.
Radiant consumption, just 2 rounds of it, and they're fully dead.
That was it, yeah. Which I think didn't Derek have? Or did he try to get that? It didn't.
I tried to get that, but I didn't because there are other spells I need. I got a lot of cleric spells, which I made good use of, I think.
But he made great use of it. Part of the reason your group was so powerful. You were the only cleric because you were a wizard. You were a damn good cleric.
I kept you assholes alive whenever I could. I gave up a fireball to cast heal on you.
How kind of you. Yeah, the Black Cat's a fun faction. I hope I have an excuse to bring them back for Campaign 3, just so we can do more with them. I mean, you healed too, but you were also the Battlesmith Artificer. No one was expecting you to pop out the big, like, mass heal type spell, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like in campaign 2, Katrin is definitely the healer. Hunter can heal if it gets that bad, but I don't think it's actually gotten that bad in a fight before. I think it's just gotten bad situation-wise outside of fights.
But your spell-strong item, you mean the pack of band-aids you had? I think that's what you flavored it as, right?
Yeah, very useful outside of combat. If we just need to keep slugging through like a building, a dungeon, or whatever in combat, no.
You were great with the was the short rests during the big final battle, though. It's like you helped the group preserve their their healing potions. So you had the spell-storing item.
That's true. That's true. I am still fucking pissed at Echo for almost trapping me in that demiplane with counterspell after fucking counterspell. I think it was what, like a 4-chain counterspell?
Yes, that was the reason I did the whole weakening veil mechanic. So if you guys ever get that crazy again, I can just bring in chaos. Oh man, imagine a Rakshasa summon through that. It's like, I don't know how this worked, because technically that's a low 5th level spell, but it did, and I'm here now, and it's your problem. But yeah, other than the Cursed Black Cats, the other big guild, you guys didn't get much use out of in the story, except for lore purposes. They're known as the Gamblers Guild, the Messenger Service, and the Seamstresses Union, all of which are connected to the UN one way or another.
Right, and we're on the not enemies, but we're on the watch list with the UN. Technically, they were spying on us first, and then a lot of shit happened.
Yeah.
Now we're just on the.
They found out about the prophecy through you, and it's like, okay, we have to keep an eye on them now. Ignore the illegal things we did to find out this much. This is a world-affecting prophecy.
Which, fair enough, but they also didn't do anything to help at all. Which, okay,
Hey,
fuck you.
They offered the use of one of their agents when Andrea got kidnapped.
Yeah, the one time. That's it.
That character was your guys' first introduction to an evil character who was not an enemy of some sort.
No, they were just selfish.
Yep. Because that's how I roll in my campaign. Evil isn't like, well, mind control. It's, I do things for myself and my self priority. It's like, we'll see if I get to you someday. Log on her.
Yeah.
Did
by
you
the
join
end
them?
of the campaign, I think
I thought it was more like you got a powerful enough company in Misadventurers that they like commission stuff from you.
Yes. Andrea basically monopolized the adventuring business
The Jeff
niche.
Bezos of adventuring, without all the messed up stuff like emerald mines and all that. She's a self-made woman.
She actually pays her employees. I think Derek's technically part of her R&D division, but he doesn't know it and probably signed a contract without reading the full terms and conditions when he was really tired. And Andrea just put a contract on the table, like, "Hey, sign this." Like, okay.
Fuck off, yeah. Now I think it was technically you're an employee, mostly for your own protection. It's like everything he makes, even on his off time, is part of our copywritten stuff. So if people try to steal from you, it's like, you're gonna steal from Misadventures Inc. Ooh, roll up your sleeves, Penny. We need your goddess stuff. Time to fight this.
The logic. Derek is completely oblivious to how dangerous it is to be a level 20 character, especially a wizard with wish just out and about in the world. So Andrea just has a security detail always tailing him that he's not aware of.
Yeah, remember how we spent like almost a whole year avoiding anything, just researching a single 10th level spell? Point that Andrea had to call in your family. It's like, he needs someone to pull him out. And it can't be me. Oh, Beck, if you want to jump in the big, well, in my Discord thing, I've got a chatting channel just for this.
Hello.
Hey, Baringo. If you weren't here for it, here's one of my players.
I can see that. There's
Yes.
another person.
Yeah,
I am the problematic one.
And hey, here's another one. I will also adjust so it's not their Discord token.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, let me know if this is headsets okay. I'm on my like old headphones.
You're good to me.
Cool, because I was playing Cyberpunk and then started listening. But yeah, Andrea does have professional babysitters after Derek. And yes,
She calls them
are-
babysitters.
that is their official job title.
And at
And
first,
yes,
they're probably a little bit
People
upset.
here.
He is technically an employee of Misadventures Inc. for tax
So many people in
purposes,
chat.
and so he has babysitters.
Which I'm sure the babysitters took offense until they met him. It's like, okay, no, I get it. Yeah, he deserves that title.
No, Andrea told one story of the multiples of when they were together, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Look, Derek was a full-grown level 20 wizard. He
Who
saved
needs
the
a
world. He's
fucking
responsible.
It's
babysitter?
huge.
Yeah, that was my bad. That was a huge book.
Wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad.
Okay.
That was the largest book I've ever seen.
I'm working on it. Pay no attention to very large books. They're being fixed.
Okay. Wasn't paying attention anyway. Where the hell is my Twitch at? There's.
And it's not like Andrea doesn't have a few stories of her own where she completely fucked up. Venus.
Excuse me. No. I only fucked up by making a phone charger. Luci did the rest of that.
Yeah, well,
You made a phone charger that turned into a nuclear weapon. I
it
don't
was
know.
not a nuclear weapon. It was a magical
It
weapon.
may as well have been. It was a magical nuke. Because it was my first time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a phone charger. Artificer. Rolled in that one.
And I got to have fun with that. It's like,
And they got to have fun with that.
I still don't know how it went so bad. Where do you even get the energy to turn that thing into a nuke? Like,
a Radio Shack.
where?
So, like,
How?
I'm guessing Luci picked the effect. And then this was before we knew how chaotic each of us was.
Yeah.
So, like, it only got worse. But,
Oh no.
So it went off in the library, which is
no.
how it was a nuke.
Yeah, the exact mechanics of it was instead of charging anything, it absorbed ambient magical energy,
In a magical library.
turned it into electricity, and because it was net zero, she forgot to put any kind of limiter on how much until
Net
it stops.
zero?
It was an at one, but
Minus.
it was not a
Well,
zero.
No, you definitely didn't have a -1 in that. You were an artificer. You better have.
It was
good
intelligence.
crafting.
Like,
Yeah.
no. Okay, hang on. I tell this story to multiple people, and the fact that I have told this story to multiple people says a lot. What was the DC to make Bedlam?
Yes. Let's see. I looked it up recently.
So I remember it was fucking ridiculous.
It
And
was
you rolled it for me.
26.
Ah.
It was high because it was combining cantrips, first level spells, and second levels just to get the variety of damage types she wanted. It was the only way the group collectively had them.
So after me accidentally put a middle finger on Venus,
which
Or
So
Lucy.
that's what that was.
a brief thing. So when that battery went off, he's like, "Oh, we're in a magic library. This could kill like all of us." Lucy, as head librarian, just shot it off into space, made his way
Yep.
all the way to the planet Venus, and then later in the campaign,
Where it went off. Yeah.
yeah,
Which,
went off-
like,
Yeah.
they must have decided later because before it just disappeared. And then, so, like, Venus is one of Andrea's patron gods. Kind of.
didn't happen until much later in the campaign, and it was unintentional. I remember that because I remember a couple. I think it was like your second interaction with Venus. I realized, wait, she'd have beef with you because you did that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because you sent the. Because
I
you sent
did
the
not
magic
send
nuke
it.
to her planet.
I did not send it,
yeah,
but she did
like-
not tell me.
Because
No,
she heard her
it's not the
phone
fact
beep
that you-
low battery mid conversation with what they didn't know at the time was a fallen angel Lucifer as just chilling as a head librarian. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, let's just plug this in. Oh, that's not a good sound.
No. And, like,
I-
so Bedlam is the
still-
impossible gun I made from this. But
No,
it was
of course.
basically, I had to make
Wait, and
something
it-
already.
Wait, does it like break physics or something?
Yes. So it's the
Nice.
impossible
Yes.
gun. It was a revolver with 6 damage types per
Here it
like
is.
1 per barrel. And then the main barrel had a minor illusion cantrip on it because it started with I wanted to make the
Wait,
boxing
barrel?
glove arrow gun. Yeah. Barrel. Where it goes poosh out.
She made a magic gun. Yep.
I made 2
I
magic
think
guns, but that was the first
by
I
one.
the-
don't think revolvers usually have more than 1 barrel.
No, they have
sorry.
different chambers
Yeah,
in
chambers.
the
Yeah.
Each
No.
chamber does a
No.
different damage.
Each chamber is a different damage type. The barrel is a minor illusion cantrip because it started with I wanted the boxing glove arrow from Green Arrow, and then it turned into a gun.
It turned from a slight want into this becoming an artifact by the end of the campaign because you didn't want this to ever be anti-magic the way.
That and I
Yes.
also it was she wanted them to live forever, and I didn't want people to destroy them. So her 2 guns that she made are artifacts now.
Yeah, the way it happened, because it was post-campaign nonsense, pretty much said, here's this fancy artificer who's going to train you on how to improve already made things. Like, not have to rebuild from scratch, just improvements. Pretty much the cost of making the next level of rarity item, and it just bumps it up to that with minor magic effects. And she went
Yeah.
all the way to artifact level. So
Yep.
they're eternal.
Yeah, they're also very, very,
Yep.
very hard to destroy.
The Mercuric name may die,
think-
but these will not. I think you
No,
had,
no, they have her.
What?
They have her name on them. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, like in importance.
She will live.
It's like the Habsburg
Yeah.
line. No one
She-
knows who the Habsburgs are nowadays.
I
Like,
mean, look, she also like effectively cannot die.
Yeah.
She's very hard to kill.
Was that the one who turned into a god, or
No, demigod.
Yeah, she only got demigod, but the full
I-
god was.
Promised Lucifer I would not become a god.
And that was in
Oh,
part.
that was
No,
that was Derek.
in part, Lucy said
No.
that to Andrea
I did it
because,
too.
like, I don't want you to encourage him to also try. If 2 party members become gods, he's gonna want to be one of them. So
Yeah.
got that demigod.
Which I did on a whim.
I'm still.
I didn't plan
You did
that.
on a whim. You just because
Uh-huh.
you're not
I was just like-
immortal. You could still die.
I mean,
It's
look,
very hard though.
I had to be smited twice by a goddess to end up in the underworld dead. So Andrea's very hard to kill.
Yeah. And it took me less than a minute in game to teleport to where you are because I think you had like an app ready for if you died, it alerts
Oh, yeah,
me
yeah.
and I'd have to teleport to you to bring you back to life.
Yep. Andrea
Oh,
has
fuck.
contingencies that are both magical and physical.
Yeah, it comes with knowing the right people
in
and
case you're
having
wondering what
infinite
that
money.
"oh fuck" was about, I'm playing a video game.
Very
Fair. Mine is currently paused because
Yeah.
And I appreciate the effort there.
Oh, I love Andrea. That was my favorite character I've ever played.
Yeah, y'all were fun in the first
What?
campaign.
Oh, well, we're not fun now. What? Do it
You're a
too
different sort of
depressing in
fun.
campaign 2?
It's a different sort of fun. It's the
I
getting
was
to
like-
meet people the first time.
I will say, campaign 2 is a lot more depressing than campaign 1. I will say.
Yeah, it is. And my one for campaign 3 is even more depressing. She just doesn't know it yet.
It's a case of give it time.
It's gonna be fun
I'm
though.
going the opposite direction. I have a problem where I cannot make like characters that are just happy.
It
Which is
is
why
a
I'm
serious
making
problem. Yeah.
It like legit.
I'm making a concentrated effort for campaign 3 where I just make a genuine happy-go-lucky character with no horrible backstory or prophesized fate or anything. They're just here to chill and have fun.
I'm sorry.
So anything depressing that
for now.
happens is entirely on Lucy. Anything that depressing that happens to that character is entirely on Lucy because I didn't put it in the backstory.
Nice.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think most of the fights Michael and I have had, which aren't even really fights, we just like to argue, are about the fact that he cannot make
We argue.
a happy character. We do. We're each other's spoils.
Do you want to talk about Bob's
Yeah.
backstory? How he became your familiar? So,
Yes.
Oh right, okay.
How
So,
this
did
bird-
you get Bob to be your emotional support pigeon?
Okay, so Bob the pigeon is Derek's familiar. It's just a normal familiar, the fine familiar spell, celestial type. Yeah,
Don't lie.
but there's more to it than that. But that's the surface level. The reason why Derek, the wizard, has of all the animal types, why a pigeon? Like why not an owl or a cat or something? So what happened was
Pigeons
Derek.
are smart.
Not exactly.
This one's
When
a warlord.
Derek, before magic came back, before Derek was a wizard, when life was just the same a la Earth, he grew up in a very
oppressive.
well, how would you put it? Yeah, oppressive evangelist family.
Derek
Yeah,
has a lot of religious trauma is the answer.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, his mother was not the most supportive of his choices in life, and it didn't help that he was gay and never told anyone because
yeah.
he,
Read
he
Narcissist.
went to he basically why he didn't tell anyone was because he went to university and Harvard, and if he told anyone, they would cut his funding off, and he was basically stranded in a completely different country if he did that. But no, I'm going off a tangent. The reason why Derek chose a pigeon to be his familiar is because one day when he was young, I think like 11 or 12 or something, a pigeon just completely out of nowhere crashed into like the kitchen window and broke its wing. And Derek thought, oh no, poor thing. He like brought it to his room and bandaged its wing, like helped make sure it's okay, helped nurse it back to health. And then a week later he came back from school to find the pigeon dead in the trash can because his mom cleaned up his room, found the pigeon, and thought, oh, like vermin, and killed it.
Fucking rude.
That explains a lot
Yeah.
about both characters.
And in comparison, Andrea's pet, Marty the Griffin.
Okay. I was like, yeah, Andrea really just picked a griffin because Andrea, even though being of a basically rich, noble family, is like, but that's not me. Because, like, I didn't get all of those accolades yet. I was like, griffins are noble, and I can maybe make him fly. And I did.
Okay, now, quick, which of these two is the more dangerous?
Bob, especially when you give him a cursed sword.
That was very fun interaction. The Feywild.
Yes,
Gave a pigeon a cursed sword.
No,
We didn't know it was cursed,
okay,
and he touched
we
it
didn't
to
know it was
identify it.
cursed.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah. So
there's the
like,
identify spell to just like determine magic effects on items. It has to be a
yeah.
touch spell, and what Derek reasonably did was like, okay, I'm going to cast it through my familiar, so we'll be fine if this sword is cursed. It was cursed. The next person to touch it is pretty much possessed by the sword,
And
and
they
the
were.
bird, the bird was the next to touch it. So
It was Bob who
Yeah.
nearly escaped to
Uh,
like kill the Feywild.
yeah,
Wait, what?
yes, Bob cast time stop, and we had to counterspell it.
Yeah.
it's a very powerful
Yeah.
sword to give them that.
So like
Yeah,
when I
and
say
then
Bob is a
we had.
warlord, that's why.
I mean, that
He's
he's
also
also
just generally.
He
Um,
also,
he's
according
also
to
just
Derek, is
generally.
a bloodthirsty pigeon.
no, that was me.
So,
That was my choice.
oh my
Admittedly.
bad.
He's a what's it called Olifant, pretty much a holy elephant thing. In his
Oh, a
normal,
Hollyphant.
Yeah,
the normal
yeah,
angel
like a war
form.
elephant.
But when he's summoned, he's just a little pigeon familiar.
Yeah,
So he's like,
Who
he's a cute little guy who is out
who's a
for blood.
wanted terrorist in New York.
Yes, I did accidentally terrorize a couple of gangs in New York with my
No,
pigeon.
no. You unintentionally. You did it on purpose. You just didn't intend for it to be a terrorist act.
correct.
No,
That was
yeah.
the burning thing. That was Bob. That's probably the thing you were thinking of earlier.
Wasn't it acid? I don't think it
Yes,
was
I
fire.
think it was acid dragon breath.
Yeah, it was definitely dragon
Right,
breath.
But
right.
that's still
So
dangerous.
this
Oh yeah,
a
it was on
pigeon
people.
appeared out of a portal. Yeah.
And the
Well, they were
reason why,
using it to
yeah,
human traffic people.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, not quite human trafficking, but close. It's like I said, it's modern world. It's like people just put teleportation circle sigils online. It's like, hey, this is totally to this bus stop in this city if you want to use
yeah.
it.
And we were trying to find one to New Greece, and Derek was looking at Reddit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the shadiest site. He's like, hey, this one says it goes where we're going. It's like, no, it was an alleyway in New York someone set up to just capture wizards.
Do you remember how many times Andrea had to go fix anything he posted on the internet?
Wait, did they send Bob through?
Yes, by
Yeah.
himself to test
Yes.
it because it was just shady. They were that smart. But the fact that they were doing
Like,
it just
look,
general.
we made a
Reddit
lot of
ones.
stupid choices, but we did them smartly.
That's good.
Yes. Like Derek would absolutely have died if he was not as smart as he was. He is an over prepper by nature. Completely.
Right.
If there's any disaster scenario, he probably made a solution like weeks ago and forgot about it.
Oh man, for some reason. Okay, my brain just jumped to cool fanfics I've read because I read this one Splatoon natural disaster fic.
Did you say Splatoon?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. I think, okay, to put into perspective how big of a problem Derek is, one time when he decided, hey, I'm going to learn how, the newest gods became immortal, he decided, fuck it, I'm going to go out into the city and just find this supposed god who just shows up around corners. He rolled 2 nat 20 twice and actually met a god.
Oh no,
So-
it was nat 20, nat 1. So you found a
Yeah.
god, and it was not the god you were looking for.
So, like, remember
No.
at the beginning of
Wow.
this when I said Andrea has literally hired babysitters for Derek? This is why. No. And that was when he was more powerful. When we were less powerful, Derek decided to go for a walk in monster infested forests. Luckily, with most of the other party except for Andrea, because she was crafting, and then ran into a troll
and healed
Wait.
the troll
and healed it.
because he
It
wasn't
was
attacking
dying.
them. It was dying. It wasn't attacking them. They were kind of like, "We'll heal it up." And then when it went off one way, they followed his track back. It's like, oh, he just killed an adventuring party by themselves. And then they went and killed the troll that they just healed. It was a fun session for Andrea to technically
So
not be able
why
to.
the troll is dying?
I had like an NPC, and then it was like, I can't yell at you.
Derek wasn't even. Yeah, Derek wasn't even trying to do anything. I think he legitimately just was bored and went for a walk. That's it.
Yes.
Everyone went
That
with
is
you because it's like
exactly
you
what
can't be
started.
trusted.
So this is why Andrea hires people. It was like
But
he did
Derek's
that when we were
powerful enough
like
on his own.
when we were. That's the problem.
That was before level 10, because technically that's before the Goblin Raid.
I was like, yeah, we were in single digit levels. Yeah, level 20 Derek.
Okay.
I'm not worried about level 20 Derek running into a monster problem. I'm worried about him creating one.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucy, pull up Derek's character sheet if you have it. Let's see. Like,
Wait.
is this someone you should worry about?
Yes.
Well, let's start with his character token. Just so people can get a. Yeah, there's that. That looks like the face of a guy you can trust. With this menacing pigeon on his shoulder and eyes aflame.
Oh, he also has a
Okay,
halo that is now
so
an Eye of Sauron. Just
Yes.
to be clear.
Yes.
Wait, what?
He has a basically, okay, long story short, he had a sort of divine revelation that turned all of his hair completely white and has a permanent flaming halo that is
An eye.
just an eyeball. Yeah,
Oh.
you know the biblically accurate angels with the eyes everywhere. So yeah, it's just a giant eye that can blink and stares at people.
Oh, this was also found out because Derek kept looking into something that literally everyone told him not to. And then found out that him and Lucifer the angel are soulmates. And after getting this knowledge, he
Wait,
then
what?
thought that. Yeah.
Not romantic. Is like a
not romantic.
teacher-student
Soulmates.
thing. It's like they're destined to
Not
always be
necessarily
teacher-students.
yeah, not husbands.
Like the literal definition of, oh, they were two halves of like the same whole. The literal definition of soulmates, not the romantic sense.
They were quite literally the same entity in multiple pieces.
Yep.
Yes. Andrea and they
Yeah.
both got them matching Build-A-Bears.
Nice.
Mhm. While Lucifer was cursed with immortality of, watching his legacy get crumbled with, the passage of time. Derek was cursed to be mortal and die over and over and to learn of his origins and forget about it in the next life over and over. So one's cursed to always remember, the other's cursed to always forget.
Holy shit.
Yep. And that is a backstory neither of us had planned from the beginning. But
That's a horrifying curse there.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
so
guy
when-
liked
when-
asking
Love it.
questions I didn't have answers for. It's
Oh,
like,
fuck.
okay, let's
Yeah.
think of something.
So when Derek learned of that, he sort of had a divine revelation and got real fucking pissed at just the
Nice.
gods in general.
As he should.
Yeah, and he kept his promise of not attaining godhood, but he did kind of push the line when he learned a level 10 spell, which technically wasn't possible for a mortal to cast. Long story.
Yeah, we'll just
Wait.
say magic item attunement.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, can you remember that when Derek accidentally found a god? At least not the one he was looking for. It
Yeah.
nearly killed him. A lot. Multiple times.
Okay, I
Bob-
love that.
Yeah, Bob tried to warn him. It's like, you need to be careful. You do the wrong thing, he can get away with killing, and then he just popped out. It's like,
I was so fucking careful with my words and trying not to accidentally insult him, and I think I got away with it like pretty well considering the situation.
Yeah, and then it still nearly killed you like 3 times after that.
yeah, I like the origin story for that made-up god. I'm blanking on their name.
I'm going to scuttle off now, but continue to headache, and yeah, pretty much
No
continuing
worries.
to headache, and I've had enough interacting with streams on the streamer adjacent end for today, so I'm going to watch Epi's stream.
See you around.
See ya.
Yeah.
Scuttling off now.
It's actually been a while since I saw Derek's character sheet. I actually forgot what he had on him.
Well, for some reason it's on the bio page.
Yeah.
Let's hop down to these just items of fuck all. I
Let me
assume
see what you got.
I assume you put more of these little like title things. Let's see. You got library access from your background, the Morningstar Institute, your Divinity things. Let's see. Here we go. The special Ioun stone that's shaped like a dagger, which you got from the deck of many weapons.
Oh, right. I forgot I had all
What did Wisdom Ring do again?
Oh, I meant.
Oh, just +2 to Wisdom. Yep.
Yeah.
We have the Celine's Dream, another deck item, which is the Ivory Wand. Actually, why is it just so short?
All right, because
to
I
grant
pulled
inspiration.
3 cards, and they were the sun, the moon, and the stars.
You shelled out a lot of money for the Arcane Grimoire.
Yeah, you did.
The Staff Defense, which I don't think really got used. I think you got that
Not
just
really.
for the +1 defense.
Yeah, and just like, blessing the cycle pump, potion of acid. Right, I had a lot of stuff. I really did overspend.
The Elemental Gem never got used. Damn.
Aw, that could have been fun.
We'll have to see if Val uses hers.
Val almost did.
Almost
But then
being
Pixies
a problem.
but then Pixies made a flying T-Rex. So
4 of them, yeah.
Wait, how much health did Derek have again?
Let's see, at
180
max,
something.
182, which is
Oh, right.
incredible for a wizard. Let's see, you got tough. You had a high constitution. Heck, you had high
I
most
maxed
stats because
on
you used wish
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did wish all of this.
Oh right.
17 nah.
In your flaws, we've got you owe a Rakshasa 6 years of post-death torture, just of your soul.
Yeah, you do.
I needed the money.
Also, can we just talk about the funniest thing Andrea ever did? Was that divine intervention?
Yes. And randomly getting Venus and not Hephaestus to
Yes,
lawyer
because you
up.
asked me like, who are you going for? I'm like, oh, like, oh, it was Venus. That's probably why she killed me later on. Yeah.
Sorry, I think the funniest thing I'm seeing on here is just the +20 to attack with a deck.
Yeah.
He's never used daggers, but he can apparently. Okay, sorry, that's just.
I mean, that's like Andrea finding a ring that allows like different arrow shit. It's like, oh, well, I guess I gotta make a bow.
Yeah, the Fletcher ring. Now, that was a case of just randomly got it rolled up.
Yeah.
When the fuck did I get thieves' tools?
No, you didn't. That was just so you could roll for it.
Yeah, you never had them. You used Jasper's.
Because, see, you have better dexterity up here, which means you did that manually.
Yeah. Because, wait, no. Andrea and Jasper / Echo both were proficient in Andrea expertise in thieves' tools.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? I think Derek felt left out, that everyone knew how to pick locks. He didn't. So he spent the weekend online. It's like, okay, how do I do this? Okay, that seems easy enough. And then proceeded to obsessively get good at it. Oh, his spell! Don't show the spell list. The spell list is
What is there embarrassing about the spell list, dude?
Let's look at this full piece
of so much stuff, because you also had cleric spells.
Jesus Christ, you had mind blank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Arcanist Magic Aura, which you use to make yourself a Celestial, forgot. And then Andrea's older brother, it's like, why are you a Celestial now?
It's like, yo, Derek, what the fuck, man? At like family thing. Was that at Thanksgiving?
Yep, that was Thanksgiving. In fact, I think Andrea initiated that. It's like, guys, they've never had a Thanksgiving. We need to do this for them. And like, we're German, but sure, we'll do Thanksgiving for them.
It was like Jasper and I think Derek are both Americans. Like, well, I feel bad. Let's do Thanksgiving. We've had a rough time.
Let's see.
It never came up. I don't think it was important. I think he just did it because, oh, you know what? Some spells like Hold Person would not work. So that might be useful.
That is why you did it. That is the exact fucking reason you did it.
Yeah. It's never, I need this for a specific thing. It's, I might need this in a specific situation that may or may not happen.
Yeah. that was why you did it.
Let's see, Dream of the Blue Veil, which you used to help get the town of dragons in Russia back to their plane.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think Derek specifically learned that because he felt bad about the dragons not going home. It's like, okay, well, I'm a wizard. Wizards solve problems.
That was also why you learned that. Correct. I don't think Andrea ever actually got to use summon contract, did I?
No, but I mean, you ended up not really needing it either.
No, but
That
like
was
I went
that.
through all that effort of getting the fucking component for it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, true polymorph. That's right. I made a business of selling spell components by true polymorphing
Yes.
odds into.
And that was how you funded most of your research. And every so often, a complication would come up, and it's just like, hey, my fucking diamonds for Revivify turned into fucking dust. Refund me. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm
Oh.
there.
Did I have to get a lawyer for you?
No, I think it's a case of it's like, you know what? You're right. I am at fault for that. So, I mean, who can predict anti-magic field?
So, like, Andrea had a lawyer for him because this business is illegal as shit.
I'm pretty sure the lawyer just made like a base form. It's like, prove me the purchase, prove they're those diamonds, but there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. I think after that, they're just put in a warning label of do not dispel magic buoy under an anti-magic field. They do work, but anti-magic at your own risk.
Did you give Andrea her first gray hair?
Who else would? Well, maybe Echo, but I think Derek's still like the most likely to have been
No,
the
it was
first.
Derek. Andrea really didn't give a shit about Echo at the end.
No.
It did make us appreciate Jasper a lot more, though.
Yeah. It's like, you remember when he was less of an asshole?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's my favorite asshole.
Actual question.
Mhm.
What percentage of Andrea's creations had like Derek's help just because wizard power wise?
Towards the end, a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because you had spells I didn't.
Like, your issue was mostly
You
just
were
too
the
much variety.
engineering side of things.
Yeah, because as much as Andrea was like, I'm going to do this without magic, she actually needed a lot of magic for her stuff. She's just like, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, it's like, I need magic to make stuff, and I can only go up to 5th level. Hey, there's that druid that also has... Sorry, not druid, wizard that also has cleric spells.
Yeah, like, Derek was important in making both of her guns.
But his name isn't on it because he doesn't... I don't think he really cared about being, like, a co-creator of the guns. He just did it to help you. That's it.
No. I mean, also, A, Andrea wouldn't have shared credit. And then B, after realizing that's not a good excuse, B, you already are getting your name put on things that are very dangerous. These two are very dangerous, so she's going to keep you away from those ones.
It became a meme that died out eventually, right?
Which one?
The meme died out eventually. The cryptid status did not.
Okay.
Mr. Sprouted full-on angel wings flew to the Freyford archives and just flew around the head librarian's window for a bit.
I'm
to the point where you had to get the fly spell.
No. Don't even try and argue that was a normal fucking thing to do.
And also, yeah, you showed up all the time. That's why you were cryptid status. Because people are like, okay, every time he comes into town, a bunch of shit goes on with the Morningstar organization. So he's either got some kind of deal or he causes problems for them.
It's both.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the app that Derek accidentally created with Andrea's name on it?
It's like, it's not a what was it, like a dating app for familiars? Like,
yes,
oh, right, the one that ended up becoming a furry dating app.
Yeah. And not intentionally, it's just people not understanding it was familiars. They thought it was just, like the alternative to like Friend Finder and whatnot for some of the adult apps.
Yeah, and then Andrea leaned into it and then set up Derek on a date with Hercules as payback.
Yeah.
I know Derek ended up with a husband who's not any of the gods, but did the day go well? I don't know.
I mean, that's up to you. It's your it's your post story.
Like, he didn't give him a happy childhood. He didn't really have much of a happy adulthood. You giving him a happy ending?
Phrasing.
And he had a husband and adopted kids. I mean, he did, become a god and eventually faded away into non-existence. But he had like a good mortal life.
The answer is yes or no.
That is true. You were kind of dancing around what could have been a yes or no.
He had a good life up to a point.
You really just can't let him be happy.
Yeah, not at all.
Blame Lucy over here, Mr. Erase Me from every other layer of reality.
And yet it wasn't enough to stop
what
you,
about
was it?
the current one you're in? It's like Andrea ended up with a wife and adopted children and was actually really happy. Even though she never pictured ever being in any type of relationship.
Yeah, so did Derek. The difference is stuff happened after that. After the kids moved out.
What did it make you not happy?
He was happy. And then
did it stay that way?
For a couple of decades, sure.
Until what? Why are you
Until he
trying to
got
make him
erased.
sad?
Until he got erased from every other layer of reality. I said this.
Okay, first off, why does Derek know that? Second of all, why would that matter? You're still in this one.
Because Lucy is permanently depressed after that.
Yeah, it did not help Lucy's existence.
Also, I'm forgetting, why were you erased from every other reality? What'd you do?
He became a deity when he knew that if, this part of Angel Soul became full-on deity, the gods would feel threatened.
Derek.
Can't even say you didn't know, because
I
you
didn't
did know.
do it.
You created the spell called
he became
Omniscience.
a deity. Yeah, and they erased every other version of Derek. So Derek went, okay, fuck, I didn't even do anything yet, but if you're gonna do that, then I might as well go all the way and become a god. He didn't get erased for becoming a god. He got erased because he learned the truth.
Gee, I wonder why they erased someone so dangerous from all of the other existences. It's a real mystery.
It's not like if every version of Derek learned the truth simultaneously, they would all get very, very pissed.
What do you mean, if?
Yeah, that was like their last moments. Like, hey, you're being smote, here's why. It's like, oh, fuck. Poof.
You can't tell me all of the other Dereks were not problems.
No, some of them had happy childhoods, and then they just got smote out of existence in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, even the
it's
the
that
timelines
one
without magic, smoted.
Yeah, it's that one episode with Rick and Morty when Rick's wife Diane got erased from every reality. It's kind of fucked up, conceptually fucked up.
I just had an Andrea thought pop up in my head. I haven't had that happen in a while. It's a little scary. My immediate thought when you were talking about the happy Dereks was like, gee, if only we would have thought of the consequences of our actions.
If only.
Anyway, Derek became a god and it existed after that for who knows how long and became a continuous problem for who knows how long.
Which just has been a continuous problem.
Will never stop being.
He became a bigger. Yeah. He was a thorn in someone's side all the way till the end.
I mean, what end? We all ended up in Valhalla and then just became bigger problems.
Valhalla doesn't exist anymore. Penny died.
Penny's a god.
Yeah, but she's
Yeah,
not a very
Penny
strong
died.
one. Remember the whole part of the god's power is how many timelines you achieved godhood.
Oh.
Penny, most of them being a martial class, not quite as up there as Derek could have been.
Yeah,
The
so
majority of him were
Penny
spellcasters.
existed for probably generations, hundreds of years, but eventually she just faded, like Odin.
So then, what exactly did Andrea do?
She lived a mortal life and then died, and then I guess got reincarnated sometime down the line, like most souls do.
That doesn't sound fun.
She would have earned a pretty chill afterlife, though.
Can I have the library?
Not that chill an afterlife.
Why not?
If you want to recreate the, not the Morningstar archives, but the Mercuric, the library that
Yeah.
Iceland had, go nuts.
I want the archive.
So half the party became gods and faded eventually, like who knows how many millennia down the line, and then the other half stayed mortal, died, got reincarnated like most other people.
Good times.
Wait. No. I know what Andrea is going to do.
Oh, God.
Oh, I haven't heard you say that in a while.
Well, I mean, I haven't had Andrea at the table in a while.
Chiron. She is the one that trains the next heroes. How she gets that? By being annoying enough. And good enough.
I mean, she has the resume for it. Misadventurers Inc.
Yeah. So, like,
Sure.
let me train the heroes. They'll probably not die.
Or if they do,
Feel
it'll
like-
at least be very cool and impressive.
It'll at least be incredibly epic.
What
And-
would Derek's interaction with mortals be after he became a god? Did he just walk around?
Unintentionally
Planet.
terrifying.
I would have assumed, sowing discord amongst the followers of their deities. Okay, you want to know what your deity was a part of? Genocide.
He probably was globally known as a heretic, just labeled as such.
I mean, it didn't help that one of the major media appearances of you were going full death god on another cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's made some choices.
Did he at least convince? At least he convinced a few souls in the end. It's like, hey, your god's an asshole. Do with that as you
Finally,
will.
someone who agrees with me. It's like statistically, it's happened.
Statistically, at some point.
But yeah, I think that's a good point to go ahead and end this stream. But thanks the both of you hopping in and just reminiscing on old lore.
Always.
Oh, one thing you should know while you were away last session was the first time Derek ever went to. Sorry, Derek Hunter ever went to a brothel. And you know what he did?
What?
He killed a guy by rotting his dick off.
On purpose?
Yeah, that
Yes.
guy was he is
Physically abusing.
yeah, he had their person chained up, sock in the mouth. Presumably that guy's sock because he is only wearing one at the time. And
Gross.
just beating them with a paddle. So Hunter's like, all right, I'm not standing for that. We're going full fatal.
I mean, fair, but like, my immediate thought after hearing that was like, why'd you make it kill him? And then I realized, wait, Val's supposed to be good. Andrea's still around a little bit.
Yeah, Val is
Yeah.
Val I had using a rope dart because built-in rope for restraining.
Oh yeah, I also have the lightning rope dart for funsies.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because
If
it was less a combat thing and more just a skill check. Can you take down these people, with just quietly and quickly so no one else comes? And he succeeded very, very highly. I think it was in the high 20s of that necrotic touch attack. So, yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, he held himself back on everyone else. Everyone else he just intimidated to stand the fuck down. That one guy died because as much as he would love to burn that building to the ground, we got more important things to do.
Also, remember these buildings are made out of stone.
Yes, it would have been
Would
very
not
hard.
stop me from trying.
It would stop you, though, in actuality.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining.
You don't know what a druid can do if they're pissed enough.
Not that. You can turn the stone into
I'll see.
mud, but you cannot light it on fire.
Yet. Yeah, thanks you guys for joining me. Thanks everyone in the audience for joining us. Gonna right over to Epiglot, who's playing a very fun card game. See you guys next week.
Bye. See
Yeah.
you tomorrow, actually.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. See you around.